Hello friends, today we will have a discussion on environmental awareness, chapter 4, and the topic is biodiversity and its conservation. First of all, we must know that what is biodiversity? Biodiversity, it is a biological diversity deals with the degree of nature's variety in the biosphere. Basically, the biodiversity comprises plants, animals, and insects and or other living organisms. Then onwards, the levels of biodiversity. The biodiversity comprises three levels. The first one that is genetic biodiversity, species biodiversity, and the third one ecosystem biodiversity. When we think about the genetic biodiversity, then we found that the genetic biodiversity means the different genes and combinations of genes within populations. Genetic biodiversity itself defines that different genes and combinations of genes within the same populations. That is a genetic biodiversity. Each member of any animal or plant species differ widely from other individuals in its genetic makeup because of the large number of combinations possible in the genes that gives every individual specific characteristics. Thus, for example, each human being is very different from all others. This genetic variability is essential for the healthy breeding population of a species. The genes found in organisms can form enormous number of combinations, each of which gives rise to some variability. Is this? When the genes within the same species shows different versions due to new combinations, then it is called a genetic diversity. Then the next one level of biodiversity is species biodiversity. Species biodiversity, the number of species of plants and animals that are present in a region constitutes its species diversity. This diversity is seen both in natural ecosystems and in agricultural ecosystems. Some areas are more rich in species than others. Natural undisturbed tropical forests have a much greater species richness than plantation developed by forest department of the government. A natural forest ecosystem provides a large number of non-wood products that local people depends on such as fruits, fuelwood, fodder, fiber, gum, resin and medicines. Timber plantations do not provide the large number of variety of goods that are essential for local consumption. Basically, the species diversity, this is the variability found within the population of species or between different species of a community. It represents broadly the species richness and their abundance in the community. Basically, the species are called as a different kinds of organisms, relationships among different species. That is called species biodiversity. Then the third one level of biodiversity, that is ecosystem biodiversity. There are a large variety of different ecosystems on Earth which have their own complement of distinctive interlinked species based on the differences in the habitat. Ecosystem diversity can be described for a specific geographical region or a political entity such as a country, a state, or a taluka. Ecosystem biodiversity complexity showing variations in the ecological niches, trophic structure, food webs, nutrient cycling, and etc. An ecosystem is referred to as a natural when it is relatively undisturbed by human activities or modified when it is changed to other types of uses such as farmland or urban areas. If natural ecosystems are overused or misused, their productivity eventually decreases and they are then said to be degraded. The ecosystem also shows variations with respect to physical parameters like moisture, temperature, altitude, precipitation, and etc. Thus, there occurs tremendous diversity within the ecosystems along these gradients. India is exceptionally rich in its ecosystem diversity. Gigantic and Brahmaputra plains, Thar desert of Rajasthan, northwest states of India, western Ghats of Maharashtra comprises a rich ecosystem biodiversity. Then when we think about the biological diversity, it comprises three levels. The first one level, that is global level, second one national, and the third one is local level or Indian biodiversity. The first one thing about the biological diversity, that is at global level. Global biodiversity is the measure of biodiversity on planet Earth and is defined as the total variability of life forms. More than 99% of all species that are ever lived on Earth are estimated to be extinct. Estimates on the number of Earths can current species range from 2 million to 1 trillion. Every country is categorized by its own biodiversity depending mainly on its climate. Basically, India has a rich biological diversity of flora and fauna. Overall, 6% of all global species are found in India. That shows India has a very great and very rich biodiversity. India is estimated that India ranks 10th among the plant-rich countries of the world. 11th in terms of number of endemic species of higher vertebrates, and 6th among the centers of the biodiversity. Global biodiversity is affected by extinction and speciation. Basically, the background extinction rate varies among country to country, but it is estimated that there is approximately one extinction per million species years. Mammal species, for example, typically persist for 1 million years. Then the next thing, that is national or local level biodiversity. Basically, the biological diversity at national level comprises Indian biodiversity, that is, every country is categorized by its own biodiversity depending on their richness of biodiversity. And then when we think about the local level biodiversity, then it may be understood by categorizing species richness into four types based upon their spatial distribution, which we have discussed below. The first one, level of local level biodiversity, can be categorized on the basis of point richness, refers to the number of species that can be found at a single point of given space. Then alpha richness, it is the second one category of local level biodiversity, that is alpha level. Alpha level or alpha richness refers to the number of species found in a small homogeneous area. Then beta richness, third one level of local level biodiversity, that is beta richness, refers to the rate of change in species composition across different habitats. And the fourth one level of local level biodiversity, that is gamma richness. Gamma richness refers to the rate of change across large landscape gradients. A richness is strongly correlated with the physical environmental variables. Then the next thing is biogeographic zones of India. Basically, India, it is very important to study the distribution, evolution, dispersal, and environmental relationship of plants and animals in time and space. Biogeography comprising of phytogeography and geogeography deals with these aspects of plants and animals. It is very important to study the distribution, evolution, dispersal, and environmental relationship of plants and animals in time and space. Biogeography comprising of phytogeography and zoogeography deals with these aspects of plants and animals. In order to gain insight about distribution and environmental interactions of flora and fauna of our country, it has been classified into 10 geographic zones, which is shown in the below table. Each of these zones has its own characteristics like climatic, soil, topography, and biodiversity. The biogeographic zone of India are shown in that picture. India's subcontinent biogeographic regions. The first biogeographic zone of India, that is Trans-Himalaya region. The Himalayan ranges immediately north of the Great Himalayan range are called Trans-Himalayan region. That part is called as a Trans-Himalayan region. It comprises three biogeographic provinces like Ladakh Mountains, Tibetan Plateau, and Himalayan of Sikkim. It accounts for 5.6% of country's landmass. This region mostly lies between 4,500 to 6,000 kilometers, and it's very cold and arid. The only vegetation is a sparse alpine steppes. Extensive area consists of bare rock and glaciers. The Trans-Himalayan region, with its sparse vegetation, has the richest wild sheep and goat community in the world. The second main biogeographic zone of India, that is Himalaya. The Himalayas consist of youngest and loftiest mountain chain in the world. The 2,400 kilometers long Himalayan mountain acres have a unique biodiversity owing to their high altitude, steep gradient, and rich temperature flora. Biogeographically, they form the part of Palearctic region. The Himalayas have three biogeographical provinces, four biogeographical provinces, that is Northwest Himalaya, that is 2A Northwest Himalaya, West Himalaya, 2B West Himalaya, 2C Himalaya Central Himalaya, that is Central Himalaya, and 2D Eastern Himalaya, that is 2D. That part, it is the biogeographic zone of Himalaya. Then the third one, biogeographic zone of India, that is Indian desert. That third one column, third one point shows that is Thar desert and Kutch desert. That is the third one biogeographic zone of India. Then the fourth one biogeographic zone of India, that is semi-arid zone. Semi-arid zone adjoining the desert are the semi-arid areas. A transitional zone between the desert and denser forest of Western Ghats. The natural vegetation is thorn forest. This region is categorized by discontinuous vegetation cover the open areas of bare soil and soil water deficit throughout the year. The fourth one, that is semi-arid region, that shows the Punjab plains and Gujarat Rajputana. Then the Western Ghats, next one biogeographic zone of India, that is Western Ghats. The mountains along the west coast of peninsular India are the Western Ghats. That fifth one point are the Western Ghats. The Western Ghats, which constitutes one of the unique biogeographical regions of the world. Western Ghats extend from the southern tip of the peninsula northwards about 16,000 kilometers to the mouth of the river. The Western Ghats comprises two Ghats, that is Malabar Plains and Western Ghats. Then the next one, sixth one, biogeographic zone of India, that is Deccan Peninsula. Deccan Peninsula comprises five sections of biogeographic zone of India. The first one, that is Central Highlands. Second one, Chota Nagpur. Then third one, Eastern Highlands. Then Central Plateau, and then the fifth one, that is Deccan South. That is the Deccan Peninsula biogeographic zone of India. Then the next one, biogeographic zone, that is Gigantic Plains. Seventh one, that is Gigantic Plains. Gigantic Plains are categorized into two categories: Upper Gigantic Plains and Lower Gigantic Plains. That is a Upper Gigantic Plain and the next one, that is Lower Gigantic Plains. Then the coastal area. The next one biogeographic zone of India, that is the coast. The coastal area also categorized into three categories. West coast, that is a coastal geographic biogeographic area zone of India, West coast, East coast, and Lakshadweep. These islands are called as the coastal biogeographic zone of India. Then the ninth one, biogeographic zone of India, that is Northeast India. Ninth one, that is Northeast India biogeographic zone. Northeast comprises Brahmaputra Valley and Northeast Hills. And the last one, biogeographic zone of India, that is Icelands. Islands are classified into two categories. The first one, Andaman and Nicobar, Andaman Islands, and the next one, Nicobar Islands. These are the 10 biogeographic zones of India. Thank you.